Okay, now we're going to look at value word problems. A florist sold roses at $10.50 per dozen and carnations at $7.50 per dozen. In all, he sold 14 dozen, and his total receipts were $129. How many of each type of flower did he sell? Well, I'm looking for how many of each flower. So first thing we need to differentiate and see what we have. He sold roses and carnations. Okay, the cost of the roses was $10.50. The cost of the carnations were $7.50. Now they wanted to know the amount. Another thing about amount would be like how many. So he sold, in all he sold 14 dozen. So my total amount is 14. Now I've got to pick a variable. I'm going to say that he sold R roses. So if he sold R roses, how many carnations did he sell? Well, he sold 14 minus R. Now this is going to work just like the coins. I'm going to multiply. So 1050 times R is going to give me 1050R. 750 times 14 minus R. I'm going to distribute just like we have before. So now I have 105 minus 7.5 R. And all of that, my total value, or the total that I brought in, was $129. So now I have my equation and I can go solve. So I have 10.5 R plus 105 minus 7.5 R is equal to 129. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. 1050 combined with a negative 7.5 is going to give me 3R. So now I have 3R plus 105 is equal to 129. I'm going to subtract 105 from each side. So now I have 3R is equal to 24. Divide both sides by 3. So R is equal to 8. So I sold 8 dozen roses. And if I sold 8 dozen roses, that means we sold 6 dozen carnations. Because the carnations, 14 minus 8 will give us 6. Okay, now let's look at this one. How many pounds of $3.90 coffee must be mixed with 10 pounds of $5.40 coffee to make a mixture worth $4.20 per pound? Okay, so the first thing I have to do is I have to differentiate between what kind of coffee I have. I've got one that's $3.90 a pound and one that's $5.40. So I'm just going to call it cheap coffee and expensive coffee. Now, how much does a cheap coffee cost? It costs $3.90. The expensive coffee cost $5.40. I don't have a total value yet. It doesn't tell me how much money I made. Now let's look and see how much. Okay, how many pounds of coffee must be mixed with, pounds of cheap coffee must be mixed with 10 pounds of $5.40 coffee. Okay, so the expensive coffee, I know that I have 10 pounds. Well, how much cheap coffee do I have? Well, I don't know. What do I put when I don't know? I put X. So the total amount of coffee that I'm going to use is 10 plus X, because I'm going to add how many pounds of cheap coffee plus how many pounds of expensive coffee. Now to find the total value, I'm going to do the exact same thing. The value times the amount. So now I have 3.90x. 540 times 10 is going to give me 54. Oops, and I left something out. I want my new mixture to cost $4.20 a pound. So I need to make sure that I have $4.20 right here. And that's going to tell me what my total value is. So once again, I'm going to distribute. 420 times 10 is going to give me 42 plus 4.2x. Now I have my equation. So now I have 3.90x plus 54 is equal to 42 plus 4.20x. Now I'm going to combine my like terms, move my variable over to one side, and just solve like I always do. I've got an x here and an x here. I'm going to subtract 3.90x from both sides. I'm just doing that so I'll have a positive number. So now I have 54 is equal to 42 plus, let's see, 0.30x. Now I'm going to subtract 42 from both sides. 54 minus 42 gives me 12. So now I have 12 is equal to 0.30x. I'm going to divide both sides by 0.30. And 12 divided by 0.30 gives me 40. So I need 40 pounds of the inexpensive coffee, of the $3.90 coffee.